Well, the speech actually started with a very strong testimony. Amanda Duchimé is the ambassador of Grandir Ensemble, which is an association for the prevention of HIV. She's just a girl. She's 18 years old. She's from Burundi, and she was diagnosed with HIV/AIDS when she was 11, so it took 11 years for her to be diagnosed. She took to the stage and she told us what it is, what it's like to be a young girl like that and to be diagnosed with such a disease, what it's like to live with that every day, with the stigma of that disease, but also with the daily problems that you can have, the heavy medication. So it started off with a very strong testimony. Then Emmanuel Macron took to the stage and he made that announcement that we just heard, 15%, an increase of 15% for France for the Global Fund budget. It is significant. It's not quite the 25% that activists and NGOs were hoping for, but it is still a very significant increase considering the fact that France was the only G7 country to not have increased its contribution since 2010. Now, his speech was very strong as well. He had this message where he said that no one will leave Lyon until $14 billion are put on the table. We're hearing that, the $14 billion are not quite yet on the table, but many people are actually excited and believe that the aim will be reached. Now, Emmanuel Macron was supposed to speak in a roundtable right after his speech. Instead, he decided to go back to the negotiation table, and he'll be holding bilateral talks with several countries: Niger, Burkina Faso, Madagascar, and Cameroon. Last but not least, in his speech, he put the pressure on three countries in particular, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. And he even said that if they could actually reconcile here in Lyon today in the name of humanitarian aid, it would be really unprecedented.
Now, Julia, how are donors reacting to Macron's speech? Because we know that we have world leaders there, we have those from the private sector. What are they saying here?
Well, what's for sure is the standing ovation that he received after his speech just spoke for itself. The private sector, international organizations. We also saw earlier Bill Gates that seemed to be quite thrilled, but also Bono, who's here. Many are very excited about the type of leadership that Emmanuel Macron is demonstrating today. Earlier, I spoke to Lelio Marmora. He's the executive director of UNITAID. It's a leading global health international organization, and this is what he had to say.
President Macron is showing unprecedented, extraordinary leadership for pushing us to do more, to make another effort to reach these very fundamental $14 billion in the fight against the three pandemics. He's asking the countries to give more money, but also the UN to work closer with the civil society, with the government, and all of the partners, UNITAID included, to work together in these sometimes complex partnerships, but extremely important for being successful.
Now, one last anecdote, Sanam. I was able to speak to the executive director of the Global Fund yesterday, and he told me that himself, he had been very impressed by the type of leadership of Emmanuel Macron, that he was very persuasive with public and private actors.